What a start to the most exciting week it would be for Demons fans if Christian Petrarca was to win. Track has been one of the reasons why Melbourne supporters have been able to smile so wide and feel so good so often this year.
That's typical Petrarca.
And then there's the player they called Clary. It was a junior coach who called him Clarence, unsure of his name. Clarence became Clary, and it stuck. He grew up idolising a Brownlow medalist, Michael Voss. Maybe tonight, he becomes one. We just heard from Michelle and Steve, Clayton's parents. Steve was his biggest influence as a kid and coached him at Echuca.
Melbourne v Fremantle. Melbourne S. May 1 vote. Melbourne T. McDonald 2 votes. Melbourne C. Oliver 3 votes. Adelaide v Geelong.
A Spuds game. Emotions ran high when St Kilda and Melbourne honoured Danny Frawley.
St Kilda v Melbourne. Melbourne K. Pickett 1 vote. Melbourne C. Petrarca 2 votes. Melbourne C. Oliver 3 votes. Gold Coast v North Melbourne. Gold Coast T. Miller 1 vote. Gold Coast B. Ellis. GWS v Melbourne. GWS Toby Green 1 vote. Melbourne C. Petrarca 2 votes. Melbourne M. Gawn 3 votes. Geelong v Hawthorn. Geelong M. O'Connor 1 vote. Hawthorn J. O'Meara.
The D's were sitting pretty
Fritz flies, big grab.
at 4-0.
Melbourne v Geelong. Melbourne M. Gawn 1 vote. Melbourne J. Viney 2 votes. Melbourne C. Petrarca 3 votes. Fremantle v Hawthorn. Fremantle S. Darcy 1 vote. Hawthorn v Melbourne. Hawthorn J. O'Meara 1 vote. Melbourne C. Oliver 2 votes. Melbourne M. Gawn 3 votes. Geelong v North Melbourne. Geelong T. Stewart.
And on Anzac Eve,
Well, I actually don't know who the winner is.
honours eventually went to Christian Petrarca.
Oh, it's Petrarca!
It was a grand night for the D's and Nathan Jones, who celebrated 300 games.
Fitting moment that is. What a night for Melbourne.
Melbourne v Richmond. Melbourne C. Salem 1 vote. Melbourne J. Lever 2 votes. Melbourne C. Petrarca 3 votes. Fremantle v North Melbourne. Fremantle N. Fife 1 vote.
Keziah Pickett, Melbourne.
Keziah Pickett, look at the moves, look at the twist, look at the turn. Cozzy! All right, there's a dozen years of that sort of skill in front of that man, Keziah Pickett.
leaving the D's as the only undefeated team after round 7. Ben Brown
Ben Brown got it!
and Jesse Hogan both made good first impressions at their new clubs.
Yes!
North Melbourne v Melbourne. Melbourne K. Pickett 1 vote. Melbourne B. Fritsch 2 votes. North Melbourne B. Cunnington 3 votes. Essendon v Carlton. Essendon A. McGrath 1.
Melbourne are 8 zip.
For the first time since 1965, the Demons were 8-0.
Melbourne v Sydney. Sydney C. Mills 1 vote. Melbourne T. McDonald 2 votes. Melbourne C. Oliver 3 votes. Western Bulldogs v Carlton. Carlton H. Mackay 1 vote. Western Bulldogs J. Bruce 2 votes. Western Bulldogs. Melbourne v Carlton. Carlton S. Walsh 1 vote. Melbourne T. McDonald 2 votes. Melbourne C. Oliver 3 votes. Port Adelaide v Western Bulldogs. Port Adelaide 0-1.
The late Tex goal,
And he takes it as arms rise around the oval.
followed by a non-call,
What's the call? Oh!
decided the fate of the Crows and previously unbeaten D's.
What an upset!
Adelaide v Melbourne. Adelaide B. Keys 1 vote. Melbourne J. Lever 2 votes. Melbourne C. Oliver 3 votes. Carlton v Hawthorn. Carlton J. Wheatering.
The D's were back in top spot after downing the Dogs in an empty stadium.
Western Bulldogs v Melbourne. Melbourne J. Lever 1 vote. Melbourne M. Gawn 2 votes. Melbourne C. Oliver 3 votes.
What an incredible count we've got right now. 5 players on track for 30 votes or more. We've never had 2 players in one season.
Melbourne v Brisbane. Brisbane Z. Bailey 1 vote. Melbourne M. Gawn, 2 votes. Melbourne C. Petrarca, 3 votes. Essendon v Richmond. Richmond S. Bolton, 1 vote.
SCG, who hosted the traditional Queen's Birthday clash. Matched against the ladder leaders, the Pies lifted for Nathan Buckley in his last game as Magpies coach.
Melbourne v Collingwood. Collingwood J. DeGoey, 1 vote. Melbourne M. Gawn, 2 votes. Collingwood S. Pendlebury, 3 votes. Port Adelaide v Geelong. Geelong I. Smith, 1 vote. Essendon v Melbourne. Melbourne C. Petrarca, 1 vote. Essendon Z. Merritt, 2 votes. Melbourne C. Oliver, 3 votes. West Coast v Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs C. Daniel, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs.
Bailey Fridge was flying.
Fridge goes up a ball!
But it was a giant win that would catapult the Dogs back on top.
Melbourne v GWS. GWS T. Taranto, 1 vote. Melbourne C. Petrarca, 2 votes. GWS J. Kelly, 3 votes. Western Bulldogs v North Melbourne. Western Bulldogs. Port Adelaide v Melbourne. Melbourne C. Oliver, 1 vote. Melbourne T. McDonald, 2 votes. Melbourne C. Petrarca, 3 votes. Carlton v Geelong. Geelong T. Stewart.
A last-minute Luke Bruce bender
And who else would you want to kick it?
left the Hawks and D's tied.
It's a draw!
Melbourne v Hawthorn. Melbourne J. Viney, 1 vote. Melbourne C. Oliver, 2 votes. Hawthorn T. Mitchell, 3 votes. Melbourne v Western Bulldogs. In round 19, Melbourne C. Oliver, 1 vote. Western Bulldogs J. McRae, 2 votes. Western Bulldogs M. Bontempelli, 3 votes.
While Big Max
Gone goes the banana.
broke all the rules for ruckman.
Gone and the boundary, the best of friends.
Gold Coast v Melbourne. Melbourne C. Oliver, 1 vote. Melbourne M. Gawn, 2 votes. Melbourne C. Petrarca, 3 votes. Western Bulldogs v Adelaide. Western Bulldogs B. Smith, 1 vote. West Coast v Melbourne. Melbourne C. Petrarca, 1 vote. West Coast E. Yo, 2 votes. Melbourne L. Jackson, 3 votes. Adelaide v Port Adelaide. Melbourne v Adelaide. Melbourne B. Fritsch, 1 vote. Adelaide B. Keys, 2 votes. Adelaide P. Seasman, 3 votes.
While Captain Max had a shot after the siren
And Melbourne are minor premiers! Wow!
to decide the minor premiership.
Try and script it!
Geelong v Melbourne. Melbourne M. Gawn, 1 vote. Geelong J. Selwood, 2 votes. Melbourne C. Oliver, 3 votes. Western Bulldogs v Port Adelaide.
When you think about Melbourne, Jim Stein's previous best with 25 votes. So now Clayton Oliver's the highest number of votes in a year in the 3-2-1 system, and Christian Petrarca just extraordinary as well at 96.
The most by the D's in any season ever.